In my 36 and a half years on this earth, I've surprisingly only called myself a roller coaster enthusiast for just 7 of them. But in those 7 years, along with a small amount prior, I will go into 2025 having ridden a total of 532 different roller coasters. I have been so eager for years to one day make a top 25 video for my YouTube channel. So much so, I decided, what the heck? Let's do a top 100 series. So over the course of 7 videos, most of them being 10 at a time, I will attempt to rank what I believe to be the best 100 coasters that I have ridden. Let's talk some pointers before we get started. Despite 100 coasters being a lot, this will still only make up roughly the top 18% of all coasters that I've ridden. If you followed along with my A Review Every Single Day goal that I completed in 2023, I gave every ride a score from 0 to 10. Almost all of these 100 rides probably got a score over a 7.5, with the majority over an 8. I would consider all of these attractions to be excellent, and don't expect the rankings to necessarily match those scores, as my opinions for many have changed since those were recorded. You will also notice a majority of these coasters reside in the United States, where I am from, so here's a breakdown of how many credits I have in different countries around the world. As you can see, I've barely scratched the surface with Europe, which I'm hoping to change in 2025. So expect a lot of American coasters, with a healthy side of rides from Japan as well, thanks to a recent amazing trip there. Alright guys, enough pre-show blabbing, let's hop into it, starting with the roller coasters I have ranked from number 100 to number 91. The coaster I have at number 100 I think will prove just how strong this list is overall. As in this spot, I have West Coast Racers at Six Flags Magic Mountain, a 2020 premier dueling multi-launch coaster. This ride features great examples of what I personally love in a coaster. Airtime, launches, quick transitions, great pacing, with some theme, and other quirky, unique factors, such as the dueling aspect you get here. You're guaranteed to be side by side with another train the entire time, with some truly fantastic interactions. And the fact you get to experience both sides of this attraction in the same ride, getting to launch twice, is always a win when it comes to duels. If they ever got rid of those pesky comfort collars, I'd actually have West Coast Racers a lot higher. It's a really fun coaster, and for sure one of the best from Premier. We just talked West Coast, let's talk East Coast now, as we head to the delightful Dorney Park for Steel Force, my number 99 best coaster. This 1997 Hyper comes from Morgan, a manufacturer with not many coasters out there, but what they do have almost always hit. Steel Force being no exception, with that perfect Goldilocks zone mix of not being too rough, but still having enough jank to make you laugh. The latter coming with some really thrilling bunny hills that deliver some awesome butt-slamming airtime in the second half. But the first half is still enjoyable too, with a good drop, decent huge floater hills, and a really intense helix around some solid scenery. Steel Force is for sure one of the more underrated coasters in Pennsylvania and is a solid overall ride. At number 98, we have my first coaster outside of the United States, and the first of many from the amazing country of Japan. Let's talk some Zokan at Fuji-Q Highland, a wonderful family multi-launch from Intamin. Fans of Hagrid's at Islands of Adventure will absolutely feel similar vibes when hopping on this motorbike-like coaster. Zokan features very quick, low-to-the-ground turns and twists, along with a spike, a backward section, those previously mentioned launches, and an on-ride audio system that plays an insanely catchy soundtrack throughout. In a park full of the world's most extreme coasters, Zokan just being a family coaster still 100% competes with them, and was absolutely one of our favorites throughout our entire tour of Japan. Launches will certainly be a recurring theme in this Top 100 series. I absolutely adore launches. And at number 97, we have the coaster that's to blame for starting that obsession for me. That being Rockin' Roller Coaster at Disney's Hollywood Studios. Hard to believe the first, and still only coaster to feature inversions at Walt Disney World, just turned 25 years old this year. and for me, it's still wonderful. I won't lie that nostalgia plays a role in Rock and Roller Coaster making this list. It did low-key help me become an enthusiast. I also happen to love Aerosmith, and that classic rock theme on a still pretty smooth and intense launch coaster will always pump me up. There's been many recent rumors about a potential change of theme, which I'd welcome if done right. I'm just happy that by all accounts this icon is here to stay a while, and thank God for that. Coming in at number 96 is the first coaster I never did an official YouTube review for, but I have indeed ridden, Stunt Pilot at Silverwood in Idaho, the very first RMC to make my list. This beautiful looking single rail Raptor opened in 2021, the same year that I thankfully happened to ride it. It was personally my first single rail Raptor experience, and while it's been over 3 years since I've ridden, and having been on over 350 other coasters since, I still remember Stunt Pilot delivering a fantastically smooth and graceful ride, with still having some great airtime moments and those whippy, super fast transitions that these Raptors are known for. And that red and white paint scheme against the backdrop of the Idaho mountains, yes please, easily one of the most picturesque RMCs to look at as well. We go from a more recent addition to a true icon, Hall of Fame worthy roller coaster, as at number 95 is the legendary Kumba at Busch Gardens, Tampa. 31 years young in 2024, one of the very first B&Ms is still going strong. A coaster that truly helped pave the way for the modern steel giants we see around the world today. This 7-inversion coaster still features a long, intense, and thrilling ride experience. Considering how many ride cycles Kumba has gone through over the years, probably more than 99.5% of any other coaster out there, it's still holding up remarkably well, to the point where complaints about any roughness need to be tempered in my opinion. While it does lack the airtime I tend to gravitate towards, and inversion-based coasters usually aren't my thing, hence why number 95 might be low for even some of you, Kumba is still an amazing coaster that I deeply respect, and I hope can find a way to survive for years to come. With number 94, not only do we have our second entry from a manufacturer, we're returning to a park already mentioned as well, that being Six Flags Magic Mountain for Twisted Colossus. And maybe this is the first coaster that's truly lower ranked than most would have it. Let's start by saying I obviously still love this coaster, as I do most RMCs. Insanely long, almost 5,000 feet of track, with all that wonderful RMC airtime that I'll mention ad nauseum throughout this series. And like West Coast racers, it has the great you get to ride both sides aspect. But unlike West Coast racers, you are not guaranteed a duel every time. In fact, you are way more likely to not get a duel. Considering that was kind of the point of Twisted Colossus in the first place, and the fact that clearly I did not get a duel on my visit, I have to knock it down a few pegs. Having to experience the excruciatingly long, slow lift hill twice is also kind of a buzzkill. But excuse the semi-harsh words, as Twisted Colossus is still a great coaster, and one of the best in all of California. At number 93, guess what folks? It's time to bring back my old friend of Mr. Nostalgia. For me, you may know that can only mean we must be returning to Disney World. You'd be correct. Because let's talk some Expedition Everest at Animal Kingdom. Hard to believe I've been riding this thing for almost 20 years now. And yes, even in 2024, and even after becoming a coaster enthusiast, I still love me some Everest. One of the best themed coasters still. This ride triggers all of your senses with some truly iconic sound effects. I love all its little tricks and gags, especially the backwards portion, which I'm sorry, is still one of the most intense backwards sections of track on any coaster. The drop is also wonderful, the helixes up the mountain still bring it, and Disco Yeti or not, he still looks incredible. Everest was very hard to rank for me, seeing as how many memories I have on it, so I think a 93 ranking is fair and respectable. That's 8 steel coasters in a row to start this thing. So at number 92, let's finally buck that trend and go to the wooden fellas. Starting with Raven at Holiday World. Opening in 1995, this CCI kicked off the chain of what has since become arguably the world's best wooden coaster park. Raven may not have the length or intensity of the other two Woodies at Holiday World, but it does feature a very thrilling ride through the woods with great drops and some unexpected out-of-nowhere airtime moments. If you like a solid wooden coaster with an added scenery bonus, you will thoroughly enjoy Raven. If it had just a bit more length though, it would for sure rank higher than 92 for me. And at number 91, the final coaster of this first video, let's go back to Japan for the very underrated Kasemi at Tobu Zoo. This 2008 Intamin Megalite surprised everyone in our group, with again some great unexpectedly strong airtime hills, very quick and well-paced transitions, but the highlight for most was one of the most intense turns after a drop on any coaster period. Talk about grayouts. Whoa, did this turn have the cheeks pushed back. Kasemi, I think, gets overlooked big time when it comes to any Japanese coaster discussions, and it shouldn't, because it's overall a fantastic coaster. Part 1 in the books, everyone, number 100 to 91. The goal for this series is to finish out the year for me here at Coaster 365. My thought process is to go 10 at a time till we get to number 41, in which case I'll then post a number 40 through number 26 video, and then sometime around the holidays, release a massive, hopefully highly anticipated top 25 video. Until then, everyone, I hope you enjoyed this first video. If you could give a like, write a comment, and most importantly, a subscribe, it would mean the world to me. All the love, guys. I'll see you next time.